Welcome back, AI Explorers, back to another interesting discussion my brother and I are having about the impact of artificial intelligence in the newsroom and journalism today. And we're going to discuss some of the interesting findings that we've looked into as we've studied this topic. So, looking forward to share this with you.
Today, we're talking about journalism. So, what do you see as the impact of AI in journalism initially?
So the first thought that actually comes to my mind is that a lot of people right now, if you look at a lot of the news headlines, a lot of people are hot and bothered about how their content has been used to generate AI, and they've been given no credit for the hard work that they've done, their human ingenuity, right? That's a very understandable position to take, right? Because artificial intelligence has been built on the backs of human giants, right? Or the shoulders, right? And so what's interesting, though, is as we looked into it, how much are journalists using artificial intelligence? And it seems like other office workers, they're using artificial intelligence so much, right? And so that's where I think that this conversation is interesting, which is yes, and I also agree and believe that we should give credit to people who have created these tools and whose content has made these tools possible. And so even though OpenAI has scraped the internet, I mean, there's never been any definitive, like, this is exactly what we've done to collect our content. But it seems obvious that they've scraped the internet, that they've looked at things and even had sources available to them from copyrighted sources of content to help build their tools. That's just a reality of how the tool works and how functional it is.
Sure.
And so there's definitely a conversation to be had there about giving credit where credit is due, giving financial remuneration for the sources that makes this tool possible. But by the same token, nobody wants these tools to go away because we all know how useful they are already. And that's showing in the newsroom already. In particular, there's a study that we have read and kind of looked at. And so we're seeing that 70% of newsroom staffers are already using artificial intelligence. And so, yes, the industry has to come to grips with how the monster was made to begin with, but we like the monster. So now what?
That's true. We do like the monster, and you're totally correct. We've seen news articles about the New York Times getting after OpenAI's ChatGPT because they've shown that some things were plagiarized word for word from articles, and so that needs to be worked on. But I think I think it's been more than just scraping the internet that they've trained these models on. I think definitely primarily the internet, but I think also other content has gone into this to make things work as they do, and that's concerning for a lot of people because in many instances we don't know exactly what the AI is doing to come up with these bits or the content that it's creating, and so people are concerned, and we can see articles of that kind. But I think in the overall, like you said, we like the monster. We've benefited from the monster. And we can see that it has helped with a variety of efficiencies and productivity in not just journalism, but in other industries as well. I know in my own workflows that it helps me with design, layout, photo manipulation, and other things, as well as content creation. And we know that journalists and other organizations are using these platforms for that content generation. What other things are you seeing as concerns or accolades for advancing AI into the journalistic sphere?
When I think of journalists and the important work that they do, because I do believe that journalism is important work, the real journalistic work ChatGPT cannot do. Okay.
Right.
The investigative reporting, the digging into things, the FOIA requests. So now, but here's the deal: is like when you get a FOIA request or you get a trove of tax documents and you're trying to figure out if somebody has committed fraud, AI tools can obviously help you get to the bottom of that faster than you ever could on your own. I mean, so
Right.
there's that. So there's definitely an efficiency and productivity piece to this. And when it comes down to it, a lot of news articles are written on a deadline. It's not like everyone's prose is beautiful literature, right? a lot of it is very workmanlike when it comes down to what's printed in the page. And so ChatGPT's output is more than sufficient to get information out there. Like when we're talking about these are facts and we're presenting them to you, they are recent new facts. This is news, right? So I don't take issue with using ChatGPT to generate the news. Obviously, it's ridiculous when you think about propaganda platforms. We've already heard whispers of, propaganda platforms being used to generate fake headlines and fake news. China and Russia have already started. And so clearly that's there, and there's an incentive for that because if you can get clicks and the way the modern internet works. But what I think is interesting is for many journalists and for frankly many professions generally, tools like ChatGPT and other AI tools that are going to be forthcoming are going to take the grunt work out of a lot of things that will make us more productive. And then as a journalist, you can do more digging because you have to spend less time writing. And so there's a very real argument to say this will enhance your job. This will enhance your investigative discovery. This will enhance your ability to get to the bottom of things, to present more news. And so, yeah, it is a catch-22 where like we're using news to create the tool that we're creating the tool to make the news, model collapse. These are things that have come up in others of our conversations, but you can't deny the usability of the tool.
Well, exactly. And I think that's key to there's a number of things that you said in that last statement that you have more opportunity to go digging because the models don't have every last bit of information available. And a lot of things aren't automatically posted to the web for review. You have to go digging in city archives or other areas to find it, or court documents or things of that nature. And you have to go and personally find that information. There was recently a post on LinkedIn of a real estate individual that posted about during the pandemic, he went and surveilled personally the city of New York. And so he went and found the data that nobody else had posted, walked the city looking at what's the current construction projects that are going on that wasn't readily available from any source. So sometimes you do have to go for your own sources and find that out for yourself. And I think the other thing is you talk about the grunt work, like you said, with the documents, if they're looking for a bit of information to find corruption or whatever detail of that story, AI is a perfect tool to help parse through tons and tons of data to find those little nuances. And again, as I've told anyone when I speak about AI, you as the expert, it is your job to vet and make sure. And I think we need to tell that to everybody as well, that it is your job as a human being to verify that, to do your best to verify it, because there is so much fake information or disinformation or misinformation, whatever you want to call it. And it's not just AI that's creating it, but people as well. And so it's up to us to go find if we hear something or see something or read something that's a little, we're like, is that really true? We need to go find that original source and make sure that it is correct. And as I've done with multiple things with AI, when I've created things, I go look for those sources. If it's suggested a source, I'll go look that up. If I can't find it within a quick search, then I'm like, it's hallucinated. Or if I do find it, I'll read through that and go, okay, yes, it got this, this, and this right, but it didn't get this. So again, it's up to us to verify this information. And as journalists or individuals in that sphere, you need to be sure to vet those sources and make sure that they aren't biased to one side or another, and that you're producing facts rather than just letting the AI decide what it needs to be. Because we've already discussed in previous videos that the AIs themselves have some bias based on the program that's been involved.
Right. Yeah, I think all of that is relevant. I think, of course, that as you use an AI tool, especially if you're going to create news articles, there's a human element that still needs to be a part of it. Because, like you said, especially when it comes to newer things, the potential for ChatGPT to hallucinate and make up a fact that then people, I mean, news is already bad enough when false things are published and how they kind of spread like wildfire. Imagine a bunch of artificial intelligent assistants picking up on threads and being like, "Oh, this is interesting," and sharing it everywhere. All of a sudden, you've got something that never happened is a widely known fact. And so, artificial intelligence could contribute to those kinds of things. One of the things that I think is interesting in the artificial intelligence debate is the idea that these news outfits are suing ChatGPT. And then we talked about why, the copyright implications. But even before ChatGPT, for a long time, the US journalism model has been a struggling business model. Like the economics have not worked well with the modern internet. A lot of journalism outlets are dying as a result. And so there's a bit of finger pointing right now when it comes to artificial intelligence. Like it's their fault. Or now that Google added that they're going to just summarize responses with artificial intelligence that are tailored responses to the user, a lot of outlets are saying, "Hey, that's not appropriate. Now we're not going to get visits to our site. We're not going to make any money." Um, and so there's a problem here wherein if that's true, if news outlets run out of money and can't publish news, then Google can't provide AI insights about news, right? You know, like that's just a fact. And so there's a weird balance in how journalism as a business supports itself and how much AI can be used to consume, interpret, and tailor the amount of news that people receive. And so I don't know how that's going to shake out, but I know that it's something that needs to be part of the conversation.
Well, I think you're totally correct. And as we've talked about AI, and right now it's those individuals that are jumping on this tool, and it is a tool, AI is a tool. Those that are using this tool will find their positions advanced, regardless of the industrial industry they're serving, be it journalism, be it real estate, be it the law, be it design, be it marketing. You're going to find yourself using these tools to create efficiencies where you can have those opportunities to find aha moments where you can see, oh, well, if I can use this technology this way, it'll give me a leg up and I'll know this story, or I'll be able to break this story first. Or you might use these tools and be parsing through some data and find something that no one else has recognized that is a big part of the story and be able to break that first. So right now, you're again, AI isn't going to take your job, but someone who is using it will. So
That's true.
do use the tool for what it's meant to be right now, which is something to facilitate your own personal efforts, your expertise, your knowledge, your way of getting things done at a quicker pace.
I can't reiterate that enough. What you're saying is like now is the time to use AI to become proficient in artificial intelligence because that is a skill that will enhance your ability anywhere you go. As an employer, when I have hired new employees recently, we're working with a lot of new people on our team. And as they get access to artificial intelligence, it immediately enhances their ability to perform well. So if I interview somebody and they come to me and they're already familiar with these tools, I know that they're going to be able to perform well. And so I think the same thing counts for the journalism industry. And like we already said, more than 70% of journalists, or around 70% of journalists, are already using artificial intelligence tools. Of course, everyone sees the value, and journalism is no different in that regard. Um, it just really comes down to how are people going to be using it in ethical ways as this becomes a bigger part of people's work lives and, frankly, personal lives.
Exactly. I, it's undeniable what AI is doing to all industries. It's reshaping journalism just as it's reshaping everything else, and how we use and go about this work. So we're going to find AI is going to help us push this up and really make some great additions and advancements to our journalistic sphere. But it's going to have its challenges. We're obviously going to have to worry about those things that a lot of people are questioning right now. but I see a bright future for journalism. And if you're interested in learning more about AI and how to use it in your own professional sphere, stick with us, subscribe and like, and we'll see you in future episodes of our podcast.